Well, Joe, you're getting ready for, I believe, your 23rd UFC appearance, man. Is it still exciting at this point to be ready for a fight?
It's not so much exciting as much as it's like getting this big cloud away from my head. You know, it's like we spend months with like, you know, look at like in this case, it's March and Health. Okay, I got to deal with him for 3 months, just worried about and focused on like what he's going to try to do to me and what we're going to do to him. And it's nice, like win or lose, it's nice just to get that off my shoulders, off my back. But it's not really exciting. It's like I'm in the gym all the time. I'm training all the time. It's kind of cool, but it's just work.
That's funny. It's just a job at this point.
Yeah.
What about fight night? I do wonder, when a guy's done it as many times as you do, I mean, are the nerves still there? Is that something you still have to control on fight night?
The nerves are still there a little bit, but like so much more manageable now. Like, and I know, like I've done it so many times. I know that getting all worked up on nerves isn't going to help me. Like, there's going to be some nerves there, and I can either get like, you know, be crippled by them and let them, you know, ruin me because I'm so nervous about them, or I can not worry about them at all, and then I'm fine. So at this point, they don't bother me at all.
Nice. You know, 23 fights. I think only Gleason Tebow and Jim Miller have had more fights than you at lightweight. Do you think about kind of where you sit in history? I mean, you're like one of the all-time leaders in the lightweight division. I try to get caught up in it. You know what I mean? I don't want to oh, I've been here so long, because then I start feeling old. You know, and everyone's like, oh, how many fights you got left? And like, I don't know. You know, like if I was talking to Steve Mays, my boxing coach, he's like, if you told me 10 years ago we'd still be here, I'd tell you we're crazy. You know, didn't think we'd be here this long. But we're still here, and I don't feel like I'm slowing down. Like, I really don't. You know, like, there's better guys all the time, but I don't feel any worse now than I was there. I don't feel like they've got a head start on me or a jump ahead. It's just the way it goes. You're still just, 32 years old,
32,
right?
Yeah.
It is weird. I mean, it doesn't seem out of place to ask you, like, how many fights you have left.
Right.
Because you've been doing it for so long, right?
Yep.
But you're still a young guy.
Yeah, it's been over 10 years in the UFC. Like, you said, 23 fights. Like, but, you know, so I'm averaging like 2 fights a year. A lot of guys are averaging a lot more. You know, a guy like Cowboy Cerrone, you know, I think is, you know, he's banging out 5, 6, 7 fights in a year. You know what I mean? There's a lot more wear and tear there. We're really good. You know, we train really smart. You know, if I don't have a fight coming up, I'm not sparring. I'm not getting in the head. You know, it's all, you know, drilling and technique and mitts and jiu-jitsu, you know, which is way better for longevity than trying to, you know, do boxing sparring and, you know, 3 days a week, every single, you know.
Is that something you'd recommend for everybody? I mean, do you think it's only because you've got, you know, 23 UFC fights in your belt, or do you think guys coming up should handle themselves that way?
Well, I think that everyone's different. Like, so we spar, so we I think we only did like 5 weeks of sparring for this. Before we did like 8 or 10. You know, so I think maybe when you're first starting out, you probably need more rounds. But once you've done it enough, like I don't think it's necessary at all. Like, I feel, you know, if the first week or two, I'm like, oh, I'm kind of getting where I want to be. 3, 4, like I'm dialed in, I'm ready to go. You know, and if we keep it going, you know, it's like 7 or 8 is usually when I get hurt. Right. You know what I mean? Like you start getting hurt here, you hurt your hand, you hurt your neck, hurt whatever. So we'll keep it at like 5 or so, and it seems to be the sweet spot for me right now.
Perfect. Let's talk about your last fight, Jim Miller. Great fight.
Yep.
I scored it for you.
I appreciate that.
Talk about it, because I know, you know, watching you leave the cage that night, it was obvious you were frustrated.
Yep.
But you also were very reserved. You didn't kind of go off on a tirade or go on the judge or anything. So just talk about the emotion of that. I mean, looking back, is it a fight you still feel like you won?
Yeah, 100%. Like, pretty devastated that night. You know, so we had like this really sad thing. One of my really good training partners, really good kid out of my gym, actually got in a car accident. You know, so like right before, like 2 weeks before. So, like, we're always talking, like, oh, we're going to talk about Devin, like, we're going to talk about him in the post-fight speech. So, like, I wasn't even, like, we weren't even thinking about, oh, you know, what, you know, did you win or not? We thought we had it in the bag, 100%. Like, we wasn't even, weren't unsure at all. You know, Jim came over and said, oh, you got the fight. His corners all come over and say, oh, you got the fight. You know, everyone came to us after the fight, told us, oh, you definitely had the fight, but we didn't get the fight, you know? So, but absolutely, like, devastated, you know what I mean? Like, and part of it, I think, is that, you know, I was wearing blue shorts, but I was the red corner. And he was in the, you know, he was in the blue corner, so I think it's kind of confusing. And we get the same thing this week. So now it's like I'm in blue shorts and I'm red corner.
Do you think the judges maybe got mixed up?
I do. I think so. You know, and one of the judges was like, it was his first MMA fight ever he'd ever judged. He'd never done local shows, never done smaller shows. You know, that's more of a commission thing than a UFC thing. But it's frustrating. It's frustrating, you know, because it's a lot of money. You know, it cost me, you know, like $60,000 that night. And then you're talking $5,000 to $10,000 every fight going forward that I'm ever going to have going forward.
Because you don't get that step up.
Because I don't get that step up. So it's like, it's really disheartening, you know, kind of the way it all went down. I got performance of the night, but fight of the night, but it's not the same either. You know, it's kind of crappy.
Is that one you want to run back sometime, or does it not change anything?
Well, I told Jim in the cage, I'm like, never again, because I thought we were 1-1. I'm like, never again, not doing it again. You know what I mean? Like, but I 100% thought I won the fight. You know, now he's got me 2-0. Now it doesn't even make sense. It's just whatever. And I love Jim, so it's not a big deal. Like, I'm glad he's racking up the wins, but
I guess at least it happened to a classy guy, right?
Yeah, he's a good guy. Better than losing to a guy that I don't like.
That's funny. All right, we got Marcin Held now.
Yep.
Lost his debut, but certainly a tough guy. Did you take anything out of watching his UFC debut?
Yeah, I saw he's a really good grappler, very dangerous, especially early on. He fought Diego Sanchez, who's awesome. We got Diego out of there pretty quick, but I think we caught him early, and we didn't give him a chance to get going. So I think that helped out us. From Marcin Held, he's at altitude. I think that fight was in Mexico City.
It was, yeah.
That's tough. He's got a long way to travel. Diego pushed a tough pace. And I think he had a lot of things going against him. Where he didn't look great in the fight, but I still thought he looked good, but he didn't look great. I think he's going to be a lot better this time around. But we trained for the biggest, baddest version of him. We never ever look past guys. We always say in the beginning of camp, we build this guy up in this big monster, and then in the course of camp, we start taking away all the things that they're good at, take away all their advantages, and I think we're ready though. I really think we're ready. I think we're gonna get it after him.
He's definitely known as a leg lock specialist. Yep. I mean, it's kind of a risky thing, I think. I mean, is that
very
something?
Risky?
Yeah, do you think can be effective with that in the UFC? I mean, I think sometimes on the lower level you can kind of surprise guys. They probably don't train it and drill it, but can you be successful with that type of attack in the UFC?
I'm not gonna say you can't be successful. A guy like Ryan Hall is gonna be super successful, but I don't think Marcin Held is the same kind of level with leg lock stuff or grappling in general. So I think it's gonna be really tough. I think it's an uphill battle. I used to do tons of leg lock stuff. I don't do them anymore because you get punched in the head because you're on bottom, both your hands are dedicated to one leg, and you get punched in the head. So, so I don't think it's like the best long-term plan, but it's something I have to be worried about, and you're not going to be, if you fight 10 guys, you're not going to leg lock, 10 of them, but you might leg lock 2 or 3. I don't want to be that 2 or 3.
Nice. I think as fans, we're kind of hoping and excited that we get to see a little jiu-jitsu battle.
Yep.
But, I wonder, too, strategically, when somebody's really good at something, you think, probably best not to engage them there.
Yep.
But I feel like maybe your jiu-jitsu could hold up as well. So, I mean, when you see this thing playing out, is there a part of you that kind of wants to get down there and test the grappling out, or is it more like...
So, playing D is leg locking, but it's not the go-to, you know what I mean? I think I absolutely have it in me to go back and leg lock him. But I don't think it's the smart play. I don't think it's a smart play. It seems like I'm always fighting kickboxers that I can exploit their jiu-jitsu and I can take them down and I can, out-jiu-jitsu them. Which is a little different. I think that, honestly, I think I'm better everywhere. But, I think that I'm going to have the bigger gap skill-wise on the stand-up stuff. So we'll probably try to keep it up a little bit. He's going to go for those leg locks. It's really tough to stop someone from, rolling underneath and getting your leg. But we'll defend and we'll deal with it as it comes. Whatever we have to do, we'll do. And if it ends up being a grappling match, it ends up being a grappling match. Ends up being a kickboxing match, that's fine too. However it wants to go, we're ready.
Well, if it goes perfect for you, how do you think it goes down?
Knock him out right off the bat. Right first punch, knock him out, walk away. Don't get no blood in the cage, no injuries, no sore anything. Just nice and easy. Just like the Diego fight would be perfect.